Okay, guys. So today we're going to have a look at how to create functions, okay? So basically, what is this when it comes to Python? These functions is, if you want to call it that, a reusable piece of code, yes, that is going to help us to solve three problems. First, the one that has to do about repetition of similar structures, yeah. For example, you need to add different numbers multiple times, yeah. So in this case, it's going to allow us to do it in a easier and in a clearer way. Second problem that we can fix by doing this is reusability of code. Why? Because we are not going to create or to reinvent, no reinventing, yes. What? The wheel, yes. Why? Because in coding, we must pay attention to the elements that are repeated, and that, of course, allows us to save multiple time when it comes to the creation of new programs based on functionality of other and older programs, yeah? And the third element that we're going to be creating is or has to do about the scope, yes? Remember, when we talk about scope, we need to talk about variables or information that is global, yes, and information that is local. These two concepts, yeah, they have to do with, yeah, the capacity that we have, yeah, in order to access, yes, access its information, yeah. What do I mean? For example, when you are born, yeah, you have some variables or data that is local, yeah. What is that information that is local to you? Private information, yes? Private information. But there's also elements, yeah, that must be global. For example, your name. Yeah? Why? Because everybody gets to know your name. But there's only some structures, such as, for example, family, that get to know private information of yours. Yeah? This is the same scenario. Why? Because let's suppose that we're creating this structure for I in range, yeah, of, let's suppose, start 1, stop 10, step 2, yeah. Yeah. In this scenario, we created, if you want to call it that, a range that is going to be an array, yeah, that starts from 1, 2, that starts from 1, yeah. And since this step, this one over here, this step is of 2, so we're going to be skipping by 2. Sorry. And that will be our range, yeah? This variable that we highlighted over here, that is, it stands for item, if you want to call it, or index, yes? This variable is only going to be local, yes, to the execution of the loop, meaning it's going to be inside, yeah? And what do you mean that it's going to be local? That only structures, yeah, that are inside of the loop, yes, can access that information. What information? Well, basically, the information that we already know because we already created the range, yes? This information that the values that I can have, yeah, is every single element that we can have inside the range, yeah? So if I do this, print I, yeah, it's going to print this, 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 and this. Because for this command, for this instruction, we know the values of I. However, if we try to create, yeah, a function, yes, or a call to the value of I, yeah, it's not going to be able to work because this print does not know, yeah, the values that I can have, yeah, because this is a local variable, yeah, and when we try to access it from outside of the loop, yeah, it's going to be impossible for it to be recognized, yeah. The same is going to be for this scenario. Let's suppose we use def. Remember that def is the keyword to create functions, yeah. And then, of course, I'm going to have the identifier, yeah. What is the identifier? The name, yeah, of the function. So I'm going to call my function, let's call it adding, yes, adding. That's the name of the function. Then, what do I need? In order to achieve this goal, yeah, I need two parameters, two elements, yes? What are those elements going to be? Number one and number two, yes? Why? Because basically what I'm doing in here, in this scenario, is that I need two elements to be able to add, yeah? What are those elements called? Yeah, these are called parameters. Parameters, okay? In this case, a parameter is an unknown value. Unknown value, okay? Why? Because I don't know what the possible value for this or for this is going to look like, yeah? I just know that probably they're going to be numbers, yeah? And then, what do I need? I need to have, of course, the instructions that are going to be happening, yeah, inside of my function. So if I already created a variable, a function that's its name is adding, and that receives two parameters, number one and number two, probably I'm just going to create a new variable, yes, addition, that is going to be equal to what? It's going to be equal to number one plus number two, yeah? And then, what should we do? Well, we can print the addition, yeah? Or I can return, yes? Return what? I can return addition, yeah? What am I doing in this process? What am I creating? Basically, what I'm just making sure in this case is that since addition is a variable that was created inside of a function, the scope of this variable is local, yeah? That means that if I want to use it outside, yes, of the structure, meaning the function, I'm going to be able to do so, yeah? But when I put return addition, yeah, it means that it's returning this variable to the global context, yes, to the global code. Now, basically, it means that I can access that variable from outside of the function that we created, yes. And now, I'm going to do a process of calling, yes. Basically, to call, yes, is to use the function that you created, yeah. What was the function? Adding, yes. And what do I need? If you pay attention, yes, if you pay attention to the elements that we have in here, I mentioned or I determined that one of the in the function I needed two values, yeah, number one and also number two. So I need to provide that to a code. Adding, yes. What am I going to add? Number one, let's suppose that is going to be 39, and that's a comma, yes. And I'm going to also add a 50, yeah. But then, yeah, since it says that it's returning a variable, yes, I should store this into where? Into a variable, yes, that is called whatever, value. So value is going to be equal to the result of adding 39 and 50, yes? What do we do in adding? Well, basically, we just put those numbers together, yeah? Let me put this over here. And then the value that is returned, yeah, from the variable, from the function, takes the place in here, in this value. So in this scenario, look, I passed, yeah, to the function that I created two arguments, okay? And now, you may be thinking, but you mentioned or you detail that those are called parameters. Yeah, but only in the scenario when I create, yes, create the function. When I'm going to call it and replace those values that are unknown, yes, with known values, in this case this and this one, they take the name of an argument, yeah? So basically, what is an argument? An argument is a known value that is used, yeah, used in the function, yeah? So to recap, yes, let's create another function. First, we're going to do a recap. I need the keyword def, yes? Let's suppose that I can write over here in a smaller size. Def is going to be the keyword. Then I have the name, def multiply. Multiply, yes? When I need to multiply, I need to pass it, yes, or to give it two parameters. What? Number 1 and number 2. Yes? So let's write again in here, multiply is identifier or name. And these ones are the parameters, okay? Parameters. Then, I must create the code. What is the code? Result is going to be equal to what? To the result of multiplying num1 times num2. And since I want, yeah, to make this local, I'm going to return what? Result, yeah? So I'm going to specify in here that is a comment, make global, okay? This one is the process, yeah? And then when I'm going to call, yes, I'm going to call it, I'm going just to say multiply, yeah? I need the parameters, so I'm going to say 9 and 10, yes? In this case, now, yes, we're using arguments. Why? Because we already know the values, yeah? Then, I mentioned to you that I wanted, yeah, to be able to show this, to get the result out of it. So, what am I going to do? I am going to store this, yes, into a variable that is going to be, let's call it process, yes? Process is equal to the value returned from multiply these two numbers. And then basically I can just print what? Process. Yes. And with that, what is going to happen? First, this code, when I execute it, it just creates. Yeah, creates a function. In this case, I called the function to be able to modify the result or the value of a variable. And then I just simply print the variable, yes? In this case, what are we going to print? 9 times 10 is 90, and process takes the value of 90, because that's what is returned, yes? And, of course, result. And then I'm going to print that value that is going to be equal to 90, okay? So, Guys, I hope that you may be able to remember all of these elements, especially the purpose, that is to reuse pieces of code, to avoid repetition, to be able to work with what we already have, and to be able to work in the scope. Have a good one.